I got a
Now,
couple other questions to go back, just to kind of go back just a little bit, because you said it's a 13 liter, and I know that different other manufacturers, a lot of times you'll have different bigger models or whatever. So is it strictly going to be the 13, or you guys have plans to go a larger engine?
no, I think so no, the plan is this 13 liter powertrain that we have, we go between, well, we max out at 515 horsepower, 1850 pounds-feet of torque. Um,
That's pretty significant.
it's pretty significant. Yeah. I mean, hey, it wasn't that long ago that you couldn't get anything close to that level of
Right.
power and torque without having a 15 liter or larger bore. Um, the whole industry, I think, not just international, but I think you'll find the entire industry. We all have our own proprietary 13 liter engine because that's the meat of the marketplace.
Yeah.
And then in the case of international, we've got a great working relationship with Cummins. We still source the 15 liter X15 from Cummins. And for our medium duty product and like our school buses, for example, we have both Cummins sourced power or battery electric, which is really kind of taking hold. So I think that's sort of a reflection of where the rest of the industry is going as well. I think all of the truck manufacturers are going to have a 13 liter powertrain that they call their own, and Cummins has a place there for higher and lower.
Right.
The one thing I will say, we're starting to find some customers that say, you know what, I was always buying a Cummins X15 because I felt I needed it, but with the way the S13 generates power, we hit peak torque at 900 RPMs. And since we're putting it to the ground with our 14-speed transmission, those two features combine to where we've had some customers come back to us and say, "Whoa, I was right next to my buddy in the same fleet, where he knew he had a 15 liter spec that his buddy was driving, and he walked past him up a hill just because of the way the power gets delivered, and we hit that peak torque at 900 RPMs." So I would say don't think that if it isn't a 13 liter, it's not going to have the guts, because a lot of our drivers are saying, I can't believe the way it puts power to the ground.
Right. Next question. How soon or when is this going to be available to the general public?
Okay, great question. We went into volume production right around this time last year.
Oh.
So the first customer deliveries really started to hit the street late 2023 and then into January of 2024. Earlier this year is when they first started coming on stream. And so we've now got over, I was just looking at the numbers, nearly 6,500 out on the streets today in the US, Mexico, and Canada.
Okay.
And then globally, Scania first started, they launched first about a year before us. And MAN, I believe I have this right, is going into production like right around now. So first Scania, then International, then MAN, and Volkswagen in Brazil will be the fourth in line. But as we sit here today, that we've got over 4 billion customer miles driven with this powertrain. Whoa. The Scania version is slightly different than ours, and ours is slightly different from MAN, but it's very minor differences, not only in logos and badging, but some of the wiring harnesses. And we have onboard diagnostics requirements in North America that don't exist in Europe. But fundamentally, the hardware set is shared by the group. And we've got, like I said, over 4 billion, coming up on 4.5 billion customer miles driven. So it's getting some real world miles out there.
And some other information that I read, I ran across. I know you were saying it's going to take 2 squirts of the DEF fluid and everything, but it's also, from what I understand, but you're supposed to be getting improved fuel economy with this engine.
Oh my, yes. We went very aggressive with our fuel economy messaging because we felt we had to really grab customers' attention. And part of our part of our internal discussions were, hey, are we saying too much? Are we being too aggressive? And the great news is, if anything, we've probably been under promising and over delivering, which, let me tell you, I tell this to my team every week. Thank goodness we're doing that, because it's better than the other way around.
Yeah, the U-Pod approach always works.
Absolutely. I'd rather let the results speak for themselves, but we're getting best in class fuel economy. We're getting killer fuel economy. I was just at there was a large trade show this past week where we kind of had fleets coming up out of the woodwork saying, I'm hearing about this in the industry, or I talked to my dealer, or I've demoed one of these things, and they either had great results of their own to share, or they'd heard about from someone else and they wanted to hear more. Which is again, it's exciting. It keeps me gainfully employed, which I kind of appreciate. But really, the fuel economy results are the thing that we find really speak to the owner.